Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Welcome to This Is Not English class. Everybody needs to read that and get it through your heads that your outlines are going to look different in here than they will in English. Whatever you've learned in English, you need to retain and use in English. But in here is different. All right? So just let go of some of those rules. Read over this and figure out what that means. Organization and outlining. Let's see here with this one. Oh, this one goes over why we need to be organized and why we have a specific way of doing it and why that's the best way. So be sure that you have read through this. You need to understand why I'm requiring the things I am requiring. Okay? It needs to make sense to you, and this will help with that. I will go over this real quick about main points. Main points are going to be the major ideas or the parts of your topic that you're going to talk about in the body of your speech. They need to be separate and focused on single ideas. Don't try to cram too much into each main point. Keep them simple. Word them clearly, that you don't have to impress me with big fancy words. Just be clear. The body of the speech is structured around the main points, and we're going to look at those. I'm not going to just leave it at this. We're going to look at it from start to finish here in a minute. Your main points should have corresponding supporting points, and the speech body should have a minimum of 2 main points, but no more than 5. Please remember that when we get to the body of the speech, because it's important to remember that. Don't make it too complex. Keeping it simple is great for me, and it is great for the audience. So do that. Just make sure it's clear. That's all that matters. In English, you've probably been taught that if you have an A, you have to have a B. If you have a 1, you have to have a 2. In here, that is not a rule, okay? We can break that rule. You only use what you need. You don't have to manufacture something just to fulfill a rule that might have been laid out. So we don't worry about that. This is what an outline is and all the things it contains, but I will show you that in a minute. You must use an outline. That is what you give me before you give your speech, and that is what you use as you give your speech. All right, so you give me a copy of the same thing you're going to use to give your speech, and it has to be an outline. Don't make a manuscript. Don't write an essay, okay, and read it. That's not how we do it. We are going to be talking on Thursday about language and delivery, and I will explain extemporaneous speaking and what that means, and how we don't use a manuscript, we just use our outline. But too many people come in here and they have an outline and they also have a manuscript. And they're like, well, I need to use this to give my speech, right? And I'm like, no. I said just use the outline. You don't even need to make a manuscript because I won't accept it and you're not going to use it. You have to follow your outline. We're going to look at the sample here in a little bit, and I'll explain all about how it works. Visual framework, your outline needs to follow a pattern of symbolization and indentation that makes it look like this. And if you use your outlining worksheet, it will. The bibliography is the last part of the outline, and that's just your works cited list. The list of the things you used to gain knowledge in order to give your speech about the topic you chose. Now, you can be an expert on something and know everything there is to know about something, but that's still not enough for your grade. Your grade it depends on you also having sources. So even if you know all about the thing, you still have to have sources, all right? And for this speech, you have to have at least 3. I like for your bibliography to be numbered. You don't have to, but I like it that way. I don't worry about if it's in alphabetical order. Here it's not, and that didn't bother me. It has, everything is numbered, so I know what is what, and that's good enough for me as long as the sources are listed. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, what's next? Parts of the outline. All right. Here's what we're gonna do. Oh my goodness. What? What is it done? No, okay, I'm on the wrong thing. Dark. Silly Tracy. Okay, how do I turn it? Somebody's been in here messing. Somebody has been in here messing around. Oh no, it's right. I just have the thing up there sideways. Okay, sorry. I am so sorry. All right, look at your outline that I just gave you, the sample. All right. Here's how you split it up. All right, the top part, this says section number. I don't really have to have that. Don't worry about that, okay? If you just want to say informative speech there, that's fine. But I don't have to have your section number. I do have to have your name. You'll see some samples with different names. Please be sure you use your name. And it's really kind of awful that I have to make that clear, but I have seriously gotten outlines from people and it had this name on it. And I'm like, why did you put that name on it? That's not your outline. Put your name on it. Your topic and your specific purpose. All right, that is all of part 1. Are you getting this up here? Okay, awesome. Part 2 is your introduction. Your introduction has 2 parts in it, and we're going to go over that here in just a little bit, okay? But the introduction contains 2 things, the attention-getting device and the orientation phase. Is this clear? Can you see it? I know it's kind of small, I'm sorry. And then the orientation phase has 4 parts of it. So this is part 2, the introduction. Then you have a transition. Then you have your body. The body is the biggest part of the outline. The body is where the main points go. So that's why it's, see, all this is still the body of the speech. And we have transitions between each major point. And then the conclusion is part 4. And I'm going to go back over each of this, each part of this. I can't even talk today. I'm going to go over each part of this, so don't get confused or overwhelmed. I'm coming back to it piece by piece. Part 4 is the conclusion. There are 2 parts of a conclusion. They're a little simpler than the introduction, but there's still 2 parts of it. And then the bibliography is part 5. The bibliography is more teacher stuff. Let me say this about teacher stuff. It is not spoken out loud. Part 1 is for me to read, not for you to say. All right, you start talking with part 2, the beginning of part 2. Same thing with your bibliography. You stop talking with the end of part 4 and you leave this for me to read, part 5. Do you get it? Do you get that? Okay. Now let me be even more specific. I'll hop back up on my stool here. All right, you can take a break from that.